Welcome back, or welcome in, if you didn't come back. I'm sure you did, though. Whether it's from yesterday or today, it's your choice. Sun Journal Weekend Preview getting you through your Friday morning in the 7 o'clock hour. Will Fessenden is here. The marketing director for the Sun Media Group, Andrew Rice, joins him today, staff writer, talking about LA city government. It is the Sun Journal Weekend Preview. For more information about the Sun Journal or for subscription options, go to sunjournal.com. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Hello. How are you?
Doing good. You got any more gigs lately playing?
A couple here and there.
Here and there?
Yeah, we're actually playing down in Biddeford on July 14th, I believe.
Ah.
Yeah. So, Abandoned Horn Brewery, if you're around.
Nice. Nice.
A little far away, but.
That's right. Somebody might be down there.
It's a road trip.
You
Yeah,
never
that's
know.
right.
People
Yeah.
don't just hang around this area. I mean, it's kind of a weekend for that. You have to get you in sometime and play. Like, that'll be good. That'll be
Yeah. Why not?
So it looks like we're going to be talking about housing in Lewiston today. Now, housing in Lewiston, especially in the downtown, has been an ongoing issue for decades. What's changing?
Well, really the impetus for this story was the code enforcement department in Lewiston has been sort of working, for the last 3 years to try to address some of the major issues, especially in the downtown area with a lot of the aging housing stock. A lot of those buildings were put up, back in the heyday of the mills, for mill workers. They're built in the 30s, 40s. So they're just been aging, and there's not been a lot of difficulty to try to get them up to par where they should be. And so in the last couple of years, the code enforcement department has sort of increased their staffing and thus their ability to sort of gain compliance from landlords for a variety of issues. But officials told me that they think they're sort of starting to turn a corner in terms of the safety of the housing stock down there.
That's really good news. I mean, the impetus for that, of course, it seemed to be when the fires came. That's really when the spotlight came on it, and it got really, really bright down there.
Yeah.
It's got to be, for some landlords, I know that there are some that probably still are trying to get away with as little as possible, and others that have been trying to weave through things, and probably financially they just haven't been able to do it. What does this all mean for landlords?
Well, I think, as far as what code is telling me is that, they're just trying to gain compliance. And I think whereas in the past, maybe it was a little easier to if to get away with not doing certain things to buildings. I think code is just because they have the increased staffing, they're able to say, either you're in compliance or you're not, and the building's going to get condemned. There's some 70 buildings I think have been condemned and demolished in the last 5 years or so. So a lot of buildings are coming down, but not all landlords are happy about it.
You know what? Hold that thought. We're going to take a break. We'll save that for the next segment because I did want to follow up on that.
Okay.
I would assume not all landlords would be happy.
Yeah.
We're talking with Andrew Rice, staff writer for. He does covers LA City, the LA City and LA City government for the Sun Journal. It's a Sun Journal Weekend Preview. Will Festa, the marketing director, is here as well. We'll talk about Mark Trail later. You're listening to the Breakfast Club on Maine's Big Z. Welcome back. Segment number 2, Sun Journal Weekend Preview, getting you through your 7 o'clock hour on Friday. Will Fessenden, Andrew Rice, they're in from the Sun Journal. For more information on the Sun Journal, go to sunjournal.com. So, are there some examples of friction between the city and landlords? We're talking about housing in Lewiston today. We're kind of picking up with the last question there. There's some examples of friction between the city and landlords, and some landlords that aren't too thrilled about this?
Yeah, I mean, I for the story, I tried to talk to as many landlords as I could, but it really started after getting a call from one landlord in particular who has sort of had a, let's say, strained relationship with the city, and I think it's been sort of a maybe gathering steam over the years. So there's some history there that might complicate things, but A lot of the landlords I talked to said, they're happy with what the city's been doing, because they see it as maybe creating a level playing field for all landlords. Where if someone's been in the city for a long time and they've been complying with all the code requirements for as long as they've been a landlord, but then they see other landlords who are getting away with not complying and maybe not investing in the properties the way they are. They see that as unfair. So I think a lot of landlords I talk to say this is at least creating a level playing field, and maybe we can try to, advance from there. But one landlord in particular, and this is just one I talked to. His name is Rick Lockwood. He's had a strained relationship with the city, and been involved with a lot of court actions. But he's not the only example. There are other landlords. I think code officials told me they've had 56 lawsuits between the city and landlords since 2014, which sort of shows you that friction does occur. And the city is basically saying if you don't comply, it's either going to end in a lawsuit or something else.
So they're taking a hard line with it is really what it is, which is kind of what you have to do in these situations. But no matter what, the biggest group of people making money out of this, it sounds to me like, is lawyers. Like, that just seems like, that seems to be kind of society nowadays. They're making all the money. Andrew Rice, staff writer for the Sun Journal. He covers the LA and LA city government. Will Festa is in as well. He's the marketing director at the Sun Media Group. Of course, you can find out more about the Sun Journal or for subscription options. Just visit sunjournal.com. That's sunjournal.com. And our street is super clean. It's very exciting. I don't know.
I mean, it's a busy time of day, right? Center Street's already busy, and now they wash the street.
Now seems like a good time. I mean,
it's just a great time.
It's the end of June. Apparently, now is the time to get all the sand off from winter. Mother of God!
I think my next story is going to be on street sweeping.
Seriously, call Levante about that one. I would love to know. More on the way. Maine's Big Z. Welcome back. Breakfast Club, Maine's Big Z. More music, better variety. Worldwide, mainsbigz.com. Sun Journal Weekend Preview for a Friday. Getting you through your 7 o'clock hour today. You get a bonus edition. You get a double-sized edition of the Sun Journal Weekend Preview today.
It's a special time.
This is like when you get those special sections of the newspaper, and you got to wait for those.
Bonus coverage. Extra in-depth.
Oh, yeah. This is the way it is. Andrew Rice is here, staff writer, LA City Government. Will Festa, marketing director, Sun Media Group is here as well. For more information or for subscription options to the Sun Journal, visit sunjournal.com. Now, some landlords you mentioned are in favor of the increased presence because of the even playing field. What are some of the have they said some of the bonuses of having this going on?
I think they just, especially people who are involved in the community or sort of care about seeing it. I just think they see, the reputation of the area. They want to see, people look differently, especially at the downtown area for investment. So, there's a lot of groups of people that are trying to do new initiatives to sort of help the city along. They're not city officials, but they're trying to sort of help do the same thing, but on the landlord side of things. I know one landlord I talked to, her name's Amy Smith. She also started this organization called Healthy Homeworks that basically is trying to create sort of a better communication and sort of cooperation between landlords to have better, safer housing. Craig Saddlemeyer, who has been involved in housing for a long time, and he's a former counselor in Lewiston. He is sort of the coordinator of is what's called the Raise Op Housing Cooperative, and basically they're another example of sort of these organizations that have sort of popped up in response to what people see as the issue of housing in Lewiston, and I think they're sort of helping from the other side of things to try to see what they can do to help out.
Would you consider it a crisis right now for housing in Lewiston, or just a major inconvenience right now?
I wouldn't say it's a crisis. I mean, someone might have said that, years ago. But I think now there are new challenges that are maybe perhaps different than they were, 10 years ago. I think the fires obviously were the sort of the start of it all. But now maybe perhaps that so many buildings have come down. There are questions about because there's less units. What does that mean for people looking for affordable housing in the downtown? So,
talk with Andrew Rice, staff writer, covers LA City government for the Sun Journal. Find more about the Sun Journal online at sunjournal.com. Coming up, we're going to talk about tenants. We're going to talk about the city, see if they're planning anything further to address downtown housing, and we'll go over all the coupons that'll be in your Sunday paper this weekend. Very excited about that. You are listening to the Sun Journal Weekend Preview on the Breakfast Club. It's Friday in the 7 o'clock hour here on Maine's Big Z. Welcome back. Fourth and final segment of the Sun Journal Weekend Preview for Friday. Will Fessenden is in, Marketing Director for the Sun Media Group. Andrew Rice, staff writer, covers LA City government for the Sun Journal. For subscription options, go to sunjournal.com. Does any of this benefit tenants? Any of the stuff we're talking about today with the housing in Lewiston and the code stuff and all that, how does it benefit tenants?
I think the biggest and probably most obvious is just safety. We talked about the fires that happened, way back, in 2013. I mean, obviously there's still examples of fires that happen now, and you see, issues there, but really what the officials told me was, the fires in 2013 in the Bartlett Street area, where the new Pierce Place affordable housing development just opened. They were sort of abandoned buildings that were set on fire, and then the fires ended up spreading to buildings where people were living. So they ended up displacing hundreds of people. And so I think when people look at what's being done, I think really the biggest idea is safety. And I think another issue that's being looked at a lot lately is lead. A lot of the older buildings, all have the lead paint. So over the last few years, the city has received some grants. They have a lead abatement program. Actually, they just found out that they're receiving another almost $3.5 million over the next 3 years to continue their lead abatement program. That's sort of a separate issue that kept popping up when I was talking to people. There's also this issue of lead too, so don't forget about that. So it's definitely complicated, but I think safety is one of the things that is an obvious benefit of the increased code.
Any clever phrases like "get the lead out"? Anything on that? No.
Not that I know
That's
of, but
a
I'm
missed
sure
opportunity.
that they exist. Yeah.
I can already see the campaign now. If Healthy Androscoggins listening, you can just send me. You can just send me an invoice for that. I'm happy to help. Is the city planning anything further to address downtown housing outside of the lead? Are they looking at maybe trying to get more housing units in or anything like that? Or
yeah, I mean, I think that's sort of what we touched on earlier. Is people are saying, well, now it's great you're getting all these condemned buildings out of there and sort of fresh start, but then you have the issue of empty lots, just grass growing up and like the tumbleweeds blowing through the property as you drive through the downtown. And so, it's sort of like the question of what now, and so I think trying to focus on that investment, from a economic development side of things is sort of the next real must be the real next focus for the city. And I know I talked to one city councilor for this story who said, there's other things that he'd like the city to do, not just investment wise, but he was looking at an ordinance that was passed in Portland, or a system that Portland has in place for a database. Basically creates a database for landlords with their contact info, which helps both tenants and city code with communication. So landlords would have to register their number of units and with their contact info, basically making it easier for tenants to contact them if there's an issue, which seems like it should be an easier thing, but apparently that's a big issue, is just even getting into contact with landlords for issues.
That's weird.
Yeah,
I could see that. I could see that happening though, because sometimes you can't get a hold of people. So, yeah. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Will, any thoughts about maybe? You know what we could do? I have an idea. I have an investment opportunity. It's not near the downtown, but it's in Lewiston. Okay.
Yeah.
What if we got a house, a big housing thing up by the Thorn Creek Burger Sanctuary, and we call it the Mark Trail House?
That's it. I have to tell you, you should send an invoice to the Mark Trail folks, because. Dude, because of you, I spend far more time than I ever have in the past making sure that on Sunday mornings, before I skip to the back and read the editorial and in the front, I go right to Mark Trail first. I'm like, all right. Maddie's been talking about
what's
this.
up with Mark?
So I do my Mark Trail bit every Sunday morning, and
good.
It's because of you.
I'm glad of that. I'll never forget when it left the paper and the huge feedback it got to get it back. Like, This area, if they could just be just as vocal about like how their tax dollars are spent and everything else, boy, things might be going in the right direction. But by God, they can get together and unite on Mark Trail.
I hear there's a possibility of a Comic-Con coming this fall. I don't know if that's all out, but I think you and I are going to dress up like Mark Trail for Comic-Con.
I would totally.
We're going to at least do this show one Friday dressed up as Mark Trail.
Yeah, it's too bad there's never been a fat Doctor Who, because I feel like I could fit that pretty well. Damn it. Anything else we should be looking forward to for the paper this weekend?
Yeah, over the weekend, update on locations, times, and so on for the ever-important 4th of July fireworks as well.
Yes, that's usually that's a huge
so
deal.
that list will be kind of updated regularly, both in print and on the website, so keep an eye out for that as more information comes in. And I know there's a chance of thunderstorms a couple of the evenings, and some do their fireworks on the weekends anyway, so all that will be updated as any changes come about on sunjournal.com.
Excellent. Well,
$111 in coupons in Sunday's paper, too.
Ooh.
There's 111.
Now, can you make a wish on that? No, that has to be 1111. I guess you only get 3/4 of your wish.
Yeah, we're almost there.
Yeah. Andrew Rice, a staff writer for LA City Government. Will Feston's a marketing director for the Sun Media Group. They have been a part of the Sun Journal Weekend Preview this week. If you missed any of it, you can catch on demand after the show at mainsbigz.com.
Happy 4th of July.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. More on the way, Maine's Big Z.